So we are going to study the shoulder joints. The shoulder joints are here. It is relatively a complex joint which involves three bones, and we are actually going to learn a little bit of that first before we go into the real joint and study that. So for those, just a review, this is the clavicle. It has two ends. One is a sternal end, which attaches to the sternum right here, right? And there is an acromial end which joins to the scapula, the acromial end of the scapula, okay? So this is the scapula. So I'm going to go over the posterior end because that's more, related with the joints. It's going to help in understanding the posterior view. You can see this is the elevation is known as the spine, and this leads into acromion. The round structure that you see in here is the acromion. There's another structure very close by, which is known as the coracoid process. You can see this very well in the anterior view. This is known as a coracoid process. So we will be using these two terms very, repeatedly for the joint, for the shoulder joint. One is the acromion and the other is the coracoid process. The third bone that is involved in this is the humerus. So if you look in here, we are talking about the head of the humerus is definitely very much involved in it, in this whole process of holding the shoulder joint in place. One other part of the scapula which I missed is the glenoid cavity in here. The glenoid cavity is the place where the humerus comes and attaches. That is a very, very important part of the shoulder joints. So I'm going to actually show you the shoulder joint. As you can see, this is the view of the shoulder joint. So let's understand this well, that this is the scapula. And if you look in here, this is the clavicle and this is the humerus, right? So this is the clavicle, this is the scapula, and this is the humerus. So this is the spine of the scapula, which leads into acromion, as we said before. And this process in here is known as the coracoid process. For clavicle, this is the acromial end. This is the sternal end where it is attached to the sternum from here. The acromial end, the end of the scapula attaches to the acromial of the clavicle attaches to the scapula from here. In addition, the coracoid process is also attached to the acromial end. And then, of course, the humerus is again attached to the scapula through the glenoid cavity. So, so let's understand what are the different types of ligaments that help in stabilizing and forming the joints. One very important thing, or for the naming purposes to remember, it will help you to remember the names better. Or wherever you see the word clavicle, it will come last, okay? And wherever you see the word coracoid process, it will come first, okay? So involvement of clavicle, according to naming, it is going to come last. Coracoid process is going to come first, okay? So let's go with the top one, which is this ligament in here. This ligament, as you can see it in here, it joins the acromion of the scapula with the clavicle. So it's known as acromioclavicular ligament. Acromioclavicular ligament. Okay, so the next is again, this is the coracoid process which joins to the clavicle. Remember, clavicle comes last. So coracoclavicular ligament. This is coracoclavicular ligament, okay, which joins the coracoid process with the clavicle. The third one, which is, you can see the acromial process and the coracoid process are, joined together. This ligament in here. This ligament in here should be coracoacromial ligament. So since coraco comes first, coracoacromial ligament. The last one is with the humerus with the scapula. So remember, the glenoid cavity is in here, And since it's a ball and socket, there is articular cartilages that join together. And this glenohumeral ligament is the one that holds together. This actually holds the entire scapula with the humerus. So there is a big ligament that actually is holding these two together, which is gleno glenohumeral ligament. It's called glenohumeral ligament. This ligament in here is known as glenohumeral ligament because it connects the humerus with the glenoid cavity. So glenohumeral ligament.